Hi, my name is Maria Kleofkoff, and I'm the founding executive director of Healthy Mourning Revolution. We're all about revolutionizing the way you think about grief and mourning. And today I wanted to come on because it's a very special day for me. This would have been my mother's 85th birthday. 5 years ago, on what would have been her 80th birthday, we held a memorial service for her. She had died 8 weeks earlier. And the importance of that is really the journey of the 5 years. And so I wanted to speak a little bit about the grief journey, what the purpose of the grief journey is, and why is it important for us 5 years later to honor our loved one? And why is it important for us to do our grief journey so that when we come to a day like today, we can really revel in the memories and celebrate the life as opposed to getting stuck in heavy emotions that are still clinging. So here's the thing about the grief journey, and what I've learned on my many grief journeys is that the grief journey is not about closure. We all hear the word closure. We all hear that we need to have memorial services and funerals because we need to bring closure. We need to work on severing whatever the relationship was. And that is so contrary to what the grief journey is. And so every time somebody who is grieving hears the word closure, their automatic internal reaction is to push away from that idea. And when we're talking about grief, if we're pushing away from what we think grief is asking us to do, if we believe in this myth that grief is asking us to bring closure to the relationship, what we're going to do is we're going to push away from our grief journey. Our grief journey is not asking us to do this. Our grief journey is begging us to find where the relationship with our loved one is now. If I hadn't spent the first 3 years after my mother died discovering where the relationship is with her now, then now, 5 years later, I wouldn't be celebrating her life and celebrating the fact that I got to share so much of it with her. And recognizing that now my life is very different. Does it mean I wouldn't like to have her here for one more hug? Of course not. Of course, it would be fabulous to have another conversation with her in physical senses, right? But that's not where our relationship is right now. And what I discover is where our relationship is now is I can have a conversation with my mother whenever, wherever I want, and she's right there with me. The foundation of our relationship is such that now I know what she's thinking and I know what she's feeling. And if I don't, I get reminded pretty quickly. It's work that gets us to that place. It is the work of the grief journey that gets us to the place where we realize that the relationship is ongoing, and yet it is not what it was when they were physically with us. We have to go through the pain of that. We have to go through the experience of what it is to not have them in our physical world. The first 3 years after my mother died was very difficult. I remember saying to a friend that I really was wondering whether I would ever be happy again, whether I'd ever smile again, or whether I'd ever feel any kind of joy again. And the very wise friend said to me, "You are a joyful person, and you will find it. You'll find the happiness again, too." And as he separated the idea of happiness and the idea of joy, I began to discover that there was a place for joy in my grief journey. And that every time I got a sense of where she is now, and I got a sense of where the relationship is now, some joy came into my world and I was able to feel it. And so moving through my grief journey with ease and grace became about me not fighting it. It became about me celebrating the memories and reclaiming the memories, because until then, the memories had been so excruciatingly painful. They were just reminders that she wasn't here physically. Now, again, 5 years later, I'm in a place where the reminder that she's not physically here is, I get it, she's not physically here. I've worked hard to get to the place of accepting that she's not physically here. And yet she is all around me in ways that she wasn't when she was alive. And so If the word closure is coming into your world and people are encouraging you to find closure, and there's stuff inside of you pushing hard against it, trust the stuff inside of you, because every grief journey is unique. Only you know your way through your grief journey. And as you discover your way, you will discover what you need in order to find where the relationship is now. You will discover what you need in order to gently and with ease and grace let go of the need for the physical relationship in favor of something that is other. It's not better and it's not worse. It's just other, and it's where it is now. The relationship with your loved one awaits you right here, right now. The grief journey is asking you to find your way to where that relationship is now. We do heal on the grief journey. Grief was always meant to be a process. It's not meant to be a place that you are stuck in. And if you find yourself stuck in your grief, or if you find yourself battling with some other people's idea of what grief is, including grief myths that are very prevalent in our society, then I invite you to come and visit me at healthymourning.com. Find the tools that you need to hear your truth in your grief journey and to move through your grief with ease and grace. If this video has been of help to you, then I invite you to like it. I invite you to click on the bell and subscribe and get notifications when we post the next video. If you have questions about anything that I've said during this video, please put them in the comment section below. I use my Healthy Mourning Revolution Radio, the podcast, to answer the questions that come in, and I look forward to hearing your questions and answering them on the podcast. Please do come and visit us at healthymourning.com. I wish you much ease and grace in your grief journey. Much love to you. Namaste.